So you may have seen small drones flying over local events, and Amazon recently promised home delivery by drones in the near future. But how realistic is it that drones could replace other, more polluting vehicles?
We have a one-level world. If you've ever climbed up on top of a mountain and looked out, it's a whole new world up there. It's just an incredible view. It's an incredible world. And to see that is breathtaking. Well, now we can see that anywhere. No mountain needed. I've been really interested in RC stuff for a long time, and I've also, done production work. So I've always wanted to see what it would be like to get a camera up on one of these flying platforms. But it was very, very, very expensive to get into. We're talking like $100,000, $150,000. Fast forward to last year, multi-rotor helicopters have become something that is actually feasible now because they're able to lift heavier loads. They're easier to fly. Stabilizer gimbals, the smoothness of them, the technology that's inside of those gimbals that keep the camera perfectly stable. GPS technology, battery power. So those are all the technologies that have come together in addition to video transmission that actually sends a video downlink, HD now, HD video downlink. So this technology has just all come together in the last year and it's just blown up.
Any individual person can go out and buy one of these for somewhere between $3,000 and $1,000. I mean, they can go up as much as 40 grand depending on the vehicle you buy, or even higher.
And go home, go into the house. Over, go to the house, just go straight to the house.
These are all applications for unmanned aerial vehicles or multi-rotor aircraft. Crop science, livestock control, high voltage power line inspections, wind turbine inspections, accident and crime scene investigations, crowd control, drug and gas detection, because you can put different cameras on these things.
Delivery of items, knowing what I've learned over the past 3 years, is not an ideal situation. If you saw that Amazon video, you see I believe it's like a 10-bladed helicopter flying and dropping a package off in someone's yard. And with the size of that aircraft and the weight it's carrying, it probably has at max a 40-minute flight time. So that means you have to live within 20 flying minutes of that warehouse or distribution point to get the package delivered to you. So you're not really talking about very long distances here. All right, so having a big corporation like Amazon or even UPS having deliver a package to your house via these things probably is not going to happen, and especially when you get to populated areas. You can't land very easily in a small, porch or something. You need a nice big open yard. So especially in cities, this is not going to work out, which is where your distribution centers are probably going to be located near. Plus, if they're saying, okay, we're going to have 20 of these helicopters flying these packages out, you start having a lot of overhead traffic. If you have one real estate agent who's flying a property to get aerial photos of a house he's selling, it's not really an issue. So I don't see big corporations having this work out. A small family run or even like a local CVS, maybe delivering medication or something, I could see.
There's places in the world where they're coming up with technology to deliver medicines to places that, via drones, to places that don't get medicine, to places that you can't drive to or walk to. And these helicopters, just like Amazon, you saw a story on Amazon, that's coming. I mean, we're gonna have packages delivered by multi-rotor aircraft or drones. We're gonna have pizzas delivered, I would guess, in the next 5 years. We've done a couple local counties here and businesses for economic development where we've scoped out property that's for sale. So a potential buyer can actually see how the land sits and how it's close to this and close to that and the roads that lead up to it and all that from a different perspective. And people will call me to come and show them the things that they want to see from up above, but with the detail.
In the future, agriculture is probably going to be the #1 area. Currently, a farmer, if he wants to get overhead shots of his field, he either has to buy satellite time or hire a manned aircraft to go fly, and then that's going to be rather expensive either way you do it.
Started into this a little over a year ago, doing some research into the different platforms, different uses, and just this summer Started off with the Ag Eagle fixed wing UAV. It's a unmanned system that we use for crop health monitoring. So we'll take it up above the crops and check for stresses in the crops, such as water, nitrogen, or other diseases. And then we can use those images to come back and correct that.
I know everyone's excited about the platforms, but at the end of the day, the platforms don't really matter. They're just a means to collect data to make decisions off of.
We just have a fixed wing. It's about a 4-foot wingspan. It weighs about 3 pounds. Kind of an airplane frame, foam wings, foam tail. You tell it the bounds of a field, you plug the sensor in, and then it figures out the best way to fly that field in a lawnmower path based off of the type of imagery that you're collecting. The applications are really endless. We have about 8 different types of sensors that we sell commercially, and that goes all the way from just a regular visual RGB camera, a number of different types of multispectral cameras which show near-infrared light. We have a hyperspectral line scanner coming out soon, a small LiDAR unit, and then we also do a couple others, including thermal infrared, which shows things that maybe the visual bands aren't going to show, and that could go anywhere from nitrogen status, diseases, and just general crop health.
We had one out. We flew one of our farms with it just to be able to get an idea of what sort of imagery could we get, how detailed can we get, what could we see on it like that. And it was really incredibly revealing. And you could get in and you could look at the actual silks on the ear and see whether you had any insect feeding on those. You could look at some of the upper leaf tissue. I mean, obviously when this stuff is taller than your head, it's a whole lot nicer to have a bird's eye view of it than you trying to hoof it out through a half-mile long row or a quarter-mile row and zigzag across the field.
I've been talking to some growers out there who are very interested in some of the drone technology, and one was telling me about a newer company that actually has a system that's large enough to do spraying operations. That's pretty astounding. And what he's interested in is the ability to take that particular drone, combine it with that remote sensing, and to be able to do spot spraying.
Utility inspection, pipelines types of things. We can have them fly those pipes. Now they're probably going to be dealing with slightly larger vehicles because we're going to be going larger distances and they need the flight time. You can have an unmanned vehicle fly down the pipeline to see if there's any problems instead of having to have a manned flight down. There's the 3 Ds of robotics. If it's dull, dirty, or dangerous, that is when a robot is ideal for the situation.
Helicopter search and rescue, airplane search and rescue, which you're putting lives at risk potentially, and it's expensive. What do you do? UAVs, drones. You send them out, you have them cover an area, you have a live video signal coming in, you put different detectors on them to find different things that you may be looking for, and you can pinpoint GPS where that drone is and send one helicopter into that precise point to rescue them. This company, EcuSearch, that's what they do. Well, they got a letter in the mail from the FAA, a cease and desist letter, that basically stated that they're not allowed to do that.
The FAA says that if you're doing this for fun and you're doing it by certain regulations according to their advisory curricula, you can go out and do them as a person individually. As soon as you add the commercial aspect to it, so you're doing it and getting paid to do it, the FAA says that is not allowed. So it's a very fine line there between what am I allowed to do and what am I not allowed to do. And that is one of the big issues.
Why is it okay for a hobbyist who has the exact same unit as I do? He can do it for fun. But the minute that I charge for it, where I'm going to be more trained, more observant of safety regulations and systems checks, more staff watching the aircraft, that is not okay. It absolutely makes no sense. My goal as a multi-rotor pilot and cinematographer is to let people know that you don't need to be scared of these things.
According to FAA rules, no commercial use of drones, period. I know that they are reviewing those rules, and I believe it's September of 2015 that we should see a clarification of those rules and how drones may actually be used, whether you're talking about agriculture or Jeff Bezos wanting to deliver things for Amazon.
It's the responsibility of the FAA to regulate civil aviation in the United States to keep the skies safe. Several different rules apply to the unmanned aircraft systems. Most importantly, as model aircraft, UAVs should generally operate below 400 feet and may not be used for commercial purposes. To learn more about the regulation of UAVs and new rules being developed, visit the FAA website.